This meeting is now in order. Welcome to the Coral Gables Toastmasters. My name is Mario Litano. I will be your Sergeant at Arms tonight. I'm very glad to see everyone here. We have a very exciting and interesting meeting lined up tonight. But before we begin, I'm going to go over a few of our meeting guidelines and our club mission, that we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. All speakers and functionaries, please rename by clicking your name and include your role, your first and last name. Mute your audio during speeches, use reaction buttons for virtual reactions, send private messages to the speakers for feedback if you wish. You may unmute during the introduction, closing remarks, and the awards presentation. Former members and Toastmasters from other clubs may take on functionary roles, may be voted for best table topics or best evaluator. Other guests can also participate in the table topics, but cannot be voted on for best table topics. All functionary roles and speaking roles will be granted co-host privileges to share the screen if needed. This is our media statement. Any and all images and video recordings taken during this meeting will be used expressly for Toastmaster-related purposes and not for commercial gain. And now I will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. And now I will introduce our president, Mr. Lucas Calafell.
Thank you, Mario, for kicking us off. Welcome everyone to the February 23rd, 2022 Coral Gables Toastmasters meeting. Could you imagine if our meeting was just one day before 2022? I guess it would be fun for that day. Apparently everybody was talking about that yesterday, similar to May 4th, and I think that's probably the only other day that people have such a big, so not a celebration, but that they mentioned. But in any case, welcome everyone. For our guests, a Toastmasters meeting is split into 3 sections. The first one is prepared speeches. The second one is table topic impromptu speaking. And the third are speech evaluations. As a guest here, you won't be asked to participate in anything, so don't feel any pressure to. Simply enjoy the show and observe what you see. As you are a guest, I would like to hear from you, to hear what are you expecting to get out of this meeting. And if you'd like to provide just a brief introduction, I'll go with our first guest, Gilberto. Please give us a brief intro.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Gilberto Brito. I am a technical account manager at Amazon AWS. I need to improve my communication, my speaking skill. I came from work in the Latin American market, and this is my first role and job in English, and I have to do a lot of interaction with customers, and another friend in the team recommend me to look about Toastmaster, and living here in Coral Gables, and here I am. How to join you and to improve my communication skills.
Fantastic, welcome. Your friend sent you to the right place.
Thank you.
Let's hear from Francisco. Feel free to unmute, and if you would like to turn on your camera, you can do so as well. It's up to you. Just for a brief intro. Okay, I don't see Francisco, and I didn't accidentally mute myself. So let's move on to Melissa. Feel free to unmute and just give a brief introduction what you're hoping to get out of tonight's meeting.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Melissa Chamberlain. I am a primary care physician at a private practice. I actually just stumbled on this event on Eventbrite. And it's interesting because I was in Toastmaster previously when I was a teenager. And so I thought that I would probably brush up my communication skills again. by joining this event tonight. Being a leader, it's always important to brush up on your communication skills. So I hope to gain more effective communication skills by coming through this event.
Okay, thank you for joining us. And Francisco, if you'd like to unmute. Okay, there you are. Just give a brief intro if you can.
Can you guys hear me?
If you're speaking, we can't hear you, unfortunately. Nope, don't hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Now it's a little bit better.
Yeah, sorry. So my name is Francisco. I'm a project director I'm a civil engineer, and I'm a project director for a project that we're building here in Miami, the 395 project that you might be familiar with if you drive in downtown. As I said, I'm originally from Spain, so I would like to improve my communication skills. And I heard about you guys from another friend. I live close by to Coral Gables, and this is going to be my first session. And I just want to see how it goes and see if I can improve here my communication skills, as I said, and my leadership skills. So looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Well, welcome, and we're glad that you're here.
Thank
The
you.
theme of our meeting tonight is networking. Why did I come up with this theme? Probably because I recently attended a networking event, and I'm not someone that attends networking events often, but networking can happen in sometimes informal ways and sometimes in more formal ways, like finding an event through a platform, meetup, or whatever the case might be. But I recently attended a networking event. I thought this would be an interesting theme because I would venture to say that maybe everyone has networked at some point, whether it was formal or informal, at conferences, at meetings, meeting colleagues, whatever the case might be. I think this is such a relevant theme for everyone as professionals. The word of the day, somewhat in line with networking, is communicate. So if you have an opportunity to speak, of course, our speakers will speak, evaluators and table topics, try to get the word of the day, communicate into your sentences, or at least one sentence. As the Toastmaster of the meeting, I'm responsible for leading the meeting and making sure that we get from beginning to end through all three segments as smoothly as possible, but I cannot do that on my own. And I have some helpers here who will assist me to make this meeting successful. The first helper that I would like to call on is our timer, Eric Gomez. Please let us know what you're going to be doing for us tonight.
Hey guys, good evening. My name is Eric. I'm going to be your timer for today's conversations, table topics, evaluators. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be timing the speeches 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I will be showing up a green background, 6 minutes yellow, 7 minutes red. That letting know the people that are making the speeches where they're at for their times. I will be also doing it for the evaluators. Evaluators, you guys know your time limits, 2 to 3 minutes. At 2, I will have the green card. 2:30, I'll have the yellow, and at 3, I will show a red background. And then for the table topics, it's the 2 minutes, so I will have the green at 1, 1 minute 30 seconds yellow, and then at 2 minutes I'll have the red.
Thank you very much. It is so important for us as speakers to be on time. If you're told to speak somewhere and they say you got 10 minutes, you better try to make that 10-minute mark. So that's what we do here at Toastmasters to make sure that we get better when it comes to time management. But another area that is so important as speakers is reducing the ahs, ums, you knows, and the person that's going to count that and make us better is going to be Daria, who is serving as our counter tonight. Let us know, elaborate a little bit more on what you'll be doing.
Greetings, good evening, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. The purpose of a hug counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During this meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds, including and I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase, such as I or this means. At the end of the meeting, I will repeat the number of the times each speaker used these expressions. Please do not take them as anything wrong. We are just here, and I hear everything because I have taught English before, and so I'm extra critical about catching my students to get them to be the best speakers they can be. But everyone does awesome. So thank you, fellow Toastmasters and everyone.
Thank you, Daria. And just like last meeting, you're going to do a fantastic job this meeting catching our ahs, ums, and any other crutch words that you find that we may use. So thank you for helping us out in that area. Next, I'd like to call on our vote counter, Catherine Stewart. Please let us know what you're going to do for us.
Hi, everyone. This evening, I'll be the vote counter. So that means I'll be collecting and tallying the votes for best speaker, best tabletop speaker, and best evaluator. So at the end of each section, please send me a private message in the chat, and I will count the votes up for us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. And just some minor clarification for our guests. Guests are allowed to vote. So feel free to do so by sending a private message to Catherine at the end of each segment. Moving on, we are moving into the first segment of our meeting, which is the prepared speech portion. Our first speaker for tonight is working on the team collaboration pathway. Level 4, the project is Motivate Others, which is a 5 to 7 minute speech. And the speech title is A Laborer in the Vineyard. Please give it up, give a warm welcome for speaker number 1, giving the speech titled A Laborer in the Vineyard, Brian DeSimone.
Motivation. It's something that I'm sure we often think about. What motivates us to go to work in the morning? What motivates to maybe start that side hustle? What motivated all of you to be here tonight for Toastmasters? It's a question we should ask ourselves, but it should be an easy question. I know for me personally, what motivates me to be here? It's being affiliated, keyword, affiliated with all of you. Lucas, the living embodiment of leadership. We have Felicity and Jasmine, leaders in the healthcare field, leading other healthcare professionals during a pandemic, and on their free time going to area contests and absolutely shining. Catherine, a rock star in the cruise industry. We have Mitchell, who is a sales guru that we learned of last week during his icebreaker. It's being able to interact and learn with all of you that motivates me to come here and get better. So for that, I thank you. But what motivates you as an individual? You should know that answer. That's an easy answer. The real question, the real challenge is knowing what motivates others. How can I tap into someone else's motivation to complete a task? That's a question I was pondering for this evening. Now, if you teach or coach athletics, it's a pretty simple answer. If you're coaching young athletes, how do you motivate them? You threaten running. Hey, you don't do what I tell you to do, we're gonna go run some 100-meter sprints, timed. Nobody likes doing that. And if that type of motivation was as simple in life, in business, the speech would be over. I'd be done. Just say, hey, you know what? You want to find out how to motivate others? Threaten them with physical exertion, no problem. But as in life, as in business, it's a little more complicated than that. It's a little more of an art form. You really got to dig down and learn what makes individuals tick. I was able to witness this art form firsthand a couple months ago. 2 colleagues of mine were tasked with from our regional director at work to create, submit, and present an RFP, a proposal for a new contract for our company. Because of my Toastmaster skills, I was assigned with giving the presentation. We have a marketing professional in our team. He was assigned with making the documents, creating the documents, the presentation slides, the Word documents. And then we had a younger, less experienced member who was in charge of crunching the numbers, making sure the values lined up. These assignments were given to us by our regional director, who really doesn't work with us day to day, just knows our resumes, know what we generally do for the company. Hey, get this job done. Okay, no problem. Seems simple enough. We start working on it. And at first it's going okay, but then progress starts to slow down. And by Friday, we realize we're in trouble. We're panicking a little bit. We only have a week left from that Friday to get this job done. And we have no progress. Our deputy manager, a man of few words, someone who likes to observe from a distance, maybe offer a little bit of tidbit here and there. He sees this, he notices this, and he offers to take us out to lunch, to get us out of the office setting, away from work, and just talk about life. One of the colleagues just had a brand new baby boy. Let's talk about it. The other colleague just bought a brand new home in this crazy housing market. What was that like? Tell me about it. So for the first half of this lunch on this Friday afternoon, we're all just talking together, resetting, recalibrating. And for the second half, our manager takes us off one at a time and just has a one-on-one conversation, getting to know us, what makes us tick. So our first two colleagues go each for 15 minutes. They come back, send the other one 15 minutes, we come back, and I go last. I'm talking with my deputy manager, and he asked me, Brian, what's your ideal work setting? Where do you see yourself? Tell me what you want out of this job, out of life. Explain it to me so that I know. And I said very, very simply, I don't look for much. I just want to be able to provide value for the team. Wherever the value is needed, plug and play. Wherever that needs to be, whether I'm giving a speech, I'm presenting, I'm behind the scenes, it doesn't matter, plug and play. I just want to see the team succeed. So with a smirk, he replies, fellow laborer toiling in the vineyard. I'm going to be honest with you, I've never heard that expression before. I had to go home and Google it. Apparently it's a proverb in the Bible. But the way he meant it was just, yeah, you're someone who likes to be in the trenches with others, with a team, getting the job done. That's what motivates you. So we'll stick you in that role. He was able to find the motivations of the other colleagues, whether that falls in status, achievement, recognition, or like me, affiliation. So come Monday morning, we have new assignments. I'm no longer giving the speech. I just want to be affiliated with the team. So I'm now back of house, crunching the numbers, adding tips and advice where I can, making sure I can help out the team, providing value. Our marketing colleague, he's motivated by status. So now you're the face of the team. You're giving that presentation. Our younger colleague who was previously crunching the numbers, motivated by achievement. Okay, now you are creating these documents. This is something visual, a specific document that you can create, that you can say, I achieved this, I completed this, and you can take on to further promotions, other jobs, and show this achievement. With these new assignments, we were all able to come together with our separate motivations and get the job done. The workflow was unlike anything I've ever experienced. We were able to get the job done well ahead of the deadline. Wednesday, have everything submitted, come Friday, present the project, and it was a pleasant working experience. We're still waiting on the client to find out whether we got the bid or not, but whether we got it or not, I'm proud of the work that we did because our manager was able to tap into each of our individual motivations and allow us to just work within our, I don't want to say comfort zone, but work within our strengths, really show our strengths off. And because of that, the product really speaks for itself. The lesson I hope to convey to everyone here tonight, if you are managing a team, managing individuals, take that time to get to know those individuals, really tap in and see what makes them tick. Because once the final product is delivered, you're going to see that that time put in paid off. It's going to pay dividends. And for all the Toastmasters here tonight, special guests, thank you so much for coming in and allowing me to toil in the vineyard with you. This is my motivation to be here, to get better with you. So thank you for joining me in these trenches. Let's continue to strive with our communication, get better, and let's get back to work. Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, for sharing that personal story about leadership, team dynamics, and ultimately what motivates others to get a project done. Thank you for that. Let's move on to our second speaker of the evening. Our second speaker is working in the persuasive influence pathway. The project is Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring, which is a 5 to 7 minute speech. Giving the speech titled Luke Goes to Dagobah, please welcome Mario Lutano.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, have you ever been in a situation where you had to be a protege to someone at some point in your life? I know I have, although it took me quite a while to get there. I had my parents, had an older sibling, had teachers along the way, but I never truly had a mentor that I could talk to about career progression or even how to be an adult. I sort of just figured things out on my own for the first 27 years of my life, I believe. As some of you know, I work in the technology sector. I started off my career doing desktop support, and I was good at it. And then one day I was given a great opportunity. I was offered a job as a system administrator, and I was very excited because I would no longer be in a customer-facing role. I would be working behind the scenes on servers, enterprise systems, working in a data center. It is what I aspire to do in my career, and it was something new and exciting for me. And so here enters my mentor. Now, this is a person who didn't really intend to be my mentor, and they didn't want to be my mentor. And just to give you a little background, this is a person who was a senior system admin at the organization where I work, and he was in charge of the backup infrastructure for the entire organization. It was a very large and complex environment. And so the leadership essentially hired me to support this person because there was no way that he could do it all himself, even though that he thought otherwise. He didn't really think or feel that he needed help, but I ended up in that role. And he was a controversial figure in the office. He was probably the highest paid senior system admin there. He didn't get along with the other sysadmins, often clashed with leadership, was far more senior, and had a big ego. And because he had such a high degree of knowledge and expert power, that he allowed him to get away with a lot of things. I often think back about my time here. I had no idea that back then that I had suddenly become a protege for this person, and that the next few years of my life, I would be embroiled in this very turbulent apprenticeship. And I'm not gonna lie, I was not the best protege. I was young, I was cocky, I didn't always do the right thing. Back then, I was not much of a team player. And my expectation was that this person was going to delegate tasks to me and slowly train me so I can cover for him, so he can go on vacation or something. But it was not like that at all. This person, over a long period of time, I realized did not want to share information and knowledge. And at the time, it made me very angry. But now that I'm more mature and I look back, it makes me sad, really. It makes me disappointed that happened. If I could write a humorous speech about all the clashes that we had and all the things that we did to each other behind our backs, it would be a long story. But if I could compare it to a movie, it would be something like Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, when Luke goes to Dagobah to find Master Yoda. And when he finally gets there, it's like nothing that he had ever expected. Yoda was old school. He was difficult to work with. He didn't want to train Luke. He didn't think Luke was ready. He was difficult to communicate with. And he talked in riddles. This person literally talked in riddles like Yoda. But despite the negative tone I do admire my mentor in my own way. I learned a lot of great things about professionalism and about myself. Perhaps the key lessons that I learned are, number one is to read. Whenever I would ask my mentor how to do something, or if I needed help, a common answer would be to go read the manual, go read the book, go figure it out. And it frustrated me. But over time, I caught on that this is an essential, indispensable habit to have. And I do it all the time. It makes me competitive. I'm one of the few sysadmins that actually takes the time to read and really understand what I'm doing. It enhances my attention to detail. It helps me make more interesting questions during important meetings. It makes me look good. The second skill that I learned is to work hard. I have to give it to my mentor. This person had a tremendous work ethic. They were relentless. They were working 24/7, always researching, always learning. They had this lifestyle of learning habit that I found to be inspirational. I learned that even if you're not the smartest guy in the room, or that you don't have the right connections, that you can still come out ahead and crush your competitors by outworking them. And the third and final lesson that I will say to you is that that I will not be like that person, that when the time came for me to be a mentor, that I would do the right thing, that I would do things differently, that I would help and guide and empower my protege, because I don't think it's morally straight to withhold information for the sake of job security, right? It's not right. It's not good for the team. It's not good for the organization if you believe in that sort of thing. And so in summary, the key leadership lessons that I learned in my time as a protege is that as professionals, that we are sometimes going to land in positions where we're going to team up with people that have different styles and personalities. Expert power goes a long way. Having a lifestyle of learning habit is inspirational as a leader. And that for me personally, I will treat other people with the dignity and respect that they deserve, because at the end of the day, Toastmasters, we're all gonna die one day, right? Nobody's gonna care about how much money you make, or how productive you were at work, or how smart you think you are. At the end, what people are gonna remember you by is by how dependable you were, how your character, how helpful you were to them during their time with you. I think that is the key takeaway that I took from my experience as a protege. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mario, for sharing with us your experience being a protege and connecting it to a pop culture phenomenon, I guess you can say. All right, let's hear from our timer. Eric, please let us know how our speakers did when it came to time.
Hey guys, first off, I would like to say great speeches from Brian and Mario. I had my breakout speech that I first did, and it was, I think, just a few minutes. I can't imagine carrying a speech for 5 to 7 minutes. So I just want to tip my imaginary hat to you guys, and congratulations on 2 excellent speeches. And was super excited to be here and timing it. When I was trying to watch the timer in here at the same time, I had to concentrate. It was challenging, but I'm very happy for you guys and the accomplishment you guys did tonight. Now for your times, Desimone, 7 minutes and 27 seconds. And for Mario, 7 minutes and 8 seconds was the recorded time.
All right, fantastic. Now, while both speakers went over 7 minutes, they fell within the 30-second grace period. So both qualify, which means that we can vote for them in the best speaker vote. And how do you do that? You will send a private message to Catherine Stewart, our vote counter. Yeah, she waved to us. Just send who you believe was the best speaker. Just type best speaker and the person's name. Okay, the next segment in our Toastmasters meeting tonight is table topics, which allows our members to answer impromptu to questions that they receive that they have no knowledge about ahead of time. And this flexes the public speaking skill of speaking when you don't quite know what to expect, to answer a question coherently, and to do as best as you can, reduce the number of ums and all of those different things. So I'll be leading this segment. And the first question is, what was your best networking experience? Catherine.
Hi, everyone. My best networking experience, I think I've had a few, and ironically, they kind of came when I was most desperate to get in touch with someone or land a job. And in my experience, I made these bold moves to reach out to people just because I didn't have anything else to lose, and it actually worked really well in my favor. So that ranges from when I first started in the cruise industry, I actually worked on board the cruise ships. And even though I was an art history major, I could not get a job with one of the art vendors. And I was trying and trying. I was living at home, had all this time on my hands. So I eventually just took my resume and got a huge vintage photo frame from like Salvation Army, put it in there and made it look like a work of art. And this was probably at least 30 pounds, and just shipped this whole thing like across state lines. And then I finally got a call back and I got the job. So that paid off really well. And then once I was working there for years later, people still remembered me by that resume I sent in. And one lady even took the frame and had it hanging on her wall because she liked it so much. So it was a good, memorable way to get in. And then when I was looking to come down to Florida, I just I didn't send any huge packages or anything, but I just kind of did, my LinkedIn research and reached out to people and just took chances on reaching out to executives. And again, just didn't have anything left to lose. So that's my motto, is go bold. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Catherine. What was your worst networking experience? Daria.
I don't know. Usually when things are not positive experiences, I tell myself to forget about them. And I forget, and I'm like, oh no, I don't have any negative experiences. I only have positive ones. But I'm sure there must be negative ones. I suppose the most interesting kind of one, when I was in grad school, my cohort, we were a small little group, there were about 8 of us, and we traveled to a different country each term. And we had an opportunity to go and volunteer for it was an interview with Jimmy Carter, the former President Jimmy Carter, and Jon Snow. He's a big media person, I guess, in London. And I was very excited to be the security in the audience for when people wanted to ask President Carter a question. But then they decided that they didn't need a security person anymore, and I was disappointed. And I just helped pass out cupcakes. So I suppose that was not a very fun experience here. I may or may not still say that I was the security for Jimmy Carter, even though I wasn't, just to hope that maybe it would have happened. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, Daria. Is the era of physical business cards over? Eric, and I will time you, Eric, so you don't need to time yourself.
Sorry, can you repeat the question one more time, just because I was having the timers and writing down all the, I'm sorry, I didn't get to hear it.
Absolutely, no worries. Is the era of physical business cards over?
So is the era of physical business cards over? It's funny that you asked me that question, because as you asked me that question, I think that the era is still alive, as I have one here right in front of me. Just so you guys know, I'm a public adjuster. If you guys have any damage to your properties, I will be the one to assist you recover the most from your insurance. But anyway, I do think that they are a powerful source of networking and marketing I do very basic tactics that include door-to-door knocking. So sometimes just leaving a physical element in this, you know, type of this type of as I want to say tactic, just will, you know, just give yourself a more of a professional look as opposed of, you know, reaching out to someone via, you know, via internet. I feel sometimes a lot of people have old school mentalities, and some people can't appreciate, you know, stuff like business cards or flyers. So I do feel that, you know, they still hold their weight to at least this game, if we should call it, of the networking and marketing, and I feel they still hold true potential and power. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's see, I have a couple more questions here. What is the right pet to bring to a networking event? Jane.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. The right pact?
Pet, P-E-T.
The correct pet, like animal, mascot to bring to a networking event?
Yeah, it's
I
a
mean,
curveball.
is there a wrong one? If you bring an animal to a networking event, that's just such an off the wall move that I wouldn't even, I don't know. I don't think I could have a negative thought about that. The right pet, a fluffy one. I mean, I think you want the pet to be reflective of the impression you want to give it at the event, right? I mean, are you trying to appear friendly? Then a dog would be a correct one. Are you trying to do you need to intimidate people because they're not taking you seriously? Bring a scorpion, dude. Like that's a great image. You know, it's like, oh, you know, I got these claws, and like, you know, I don't even think about like doing something behind my back because I'm gonna sting you. So I think it really depends on the event. Personally, for me, I'd like to bring a fluffy, cute pet, just very friendly, open, like a dog, obviously. Maybe even a cat. People love it. There's people who love dogs, you know, there's a lot of people like that, but cat people are very intense about cats. So if you bring a cat, you will definitely get on their good side. That's a filler word. And I see the green light. That's back to you, Toastmaster.
All right, thank you very much. Let's see if I have any more time. Yes, I do. And I have a few more questions. Another curveball. You find yourself randomly at a networking event with a group of professional jugglers. How would you attempt to relate to them? Brian.
A curveball indeed. A networking event full of jugglers. Well, for those of you who don't know, I'm an amateur juggler myself. So clearly, best way to meet them and get to know them would be to just outshine them. Clearly, right? Just show up, steal whatever objects are juggling, juggle it better than them in front of their face. They're going to be impressed. Probably not. That's a joke. Don't do that. If I were to network with some jugglers, you know, just like I said in my speech, get to know them, really sit down with them, put the objects down. Let's stop juggling for a second, guys. Come here, let's grab some food. Let's get to know you as an individual. Why did you start juggling? What made you do it? Because I'm sure you weren't the coolest kid in class. Let's be real. If you're out there juggling, you had a childhood that was different. And we can all relate to that, right? We all felt different at one time in our lives. So I think that would be the go-to, just kind of what made that decision to go in that profession and hammer that down, really get to know them on that level. And I think I'll leave the room with some best friends for life, because that's not a conversation that you have every day. You know, you go to a juggling conference and you don't start talking about your childhood and why you chose to do it. It's just not something that usually comes up. So I think that's the approach I would take. Thank you, Table Topics Master. Back to you.
Thank you. And if you are in fact an amateur juggler, I honestly didn't know. So that was a coincidence. Okay.
I dabble.
Oh, all right. Didn't know. What aspect of networking do you like the most, Felicity?
Aspect of networking do I like the most? Well, fellow Toastmasters guests and everyone else on the call today, the best part of networking that I like is the after party. I'm just saying. Of all the networking events that I have attended, they have all occurred because of a conference. As a registered nurse and a case manager, I belong to an organization called the American Case Management Association. And they have a national conference every year. And they have it in amazing locations. We have amazing people. We get to play games, meet all sorts of people, and we get to meet the individuals who make our lives easier, the individuals who share resources. Those are the individuals that end up taking us to dinner, buying us drinks, giving us all kinds of gifts. That's the best part. The other part of this conference is you get the opportunity to win a car. Now, have I ever won a car? I wish. I've never been able to win that car. My best networking experience have always occurred at the American Case Management Association National Conference, wherever they are. By the way, the conference is occurring in Dallas, Texas this year. I've gone to Houston, never to Dallas. I am extremely excited about it. There's some individuals that I haven't met before, but I am looking forward to it, especially the after party. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much. And what do you dislike the most when it comes to networking, Mario?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Masters. I don't really network much. I always see these emails, oh, come to this networking event to learn about this IT product or whatever, but I never go. I think the only networking that I ever do is here in Toastmasters or some of the other things that I'm a part of. But what I dislike the most, it would probably be talking. I'm not very outgoing and social naturally. Something that I'm working on. That's why I'm here at the Toastmasters, to help me with that skill. But yeah, I've always had this sort of anxiety of speaking and meeting people. So perhaps that would be the thing that I don't like the most. But I think over time I'll eliminate that, and it'll probably be something else like the food or something like that. So yeah, that's probably gonna be my answer. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics.
All right, thank you very much. And this concludes our Table Topics session. Thank you, everyone. Let's go over to our timer. I know, Eric, you had quite a long list there, but just let us know how all of our Table Topic speakers did this evening.
It's all right. I was able to get everybody down, and I tried to record myself, and that didn't come out. It didn't come out. So was I a minute and five seconds?
I got you at a minute 15, so you qualify.
Oh man, 10 seconds. That's probably when I was trying to go back and forth showing the flyer, the 10 seconds. That's probably what I missed. Anyway, so we have our first speaker was, I believe it was Catherine, right? Catherine had a minute and 43 seconds. Next one was Daria at a minute and 31 seconds. Jane at a minute and 13 seconds. Brian at 1 minute and 27 seconds. Felicity at 1 minute and 51 seconds. And then Mario at 1 minute and 8 seconds. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Okay, just wanted to clarify, you got Jane in there, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then you said Brian.
Yes.
Okay. I think if you did speak, I mean, I might have missed someone in my list as well.
I think I was after Daria, if I wasn't mistaken.
Okay, yeah, I think this one is. All right, so I think everybody qualified. So what you can do now is send your favorite table topic response, impromptu response to our vote counter, Catherine. All you have to do is send a private message, best table topic, and the person's first name, and you are good to go. So you can go ahead and do that now if you wish. But on my end, I'm going to go straight into the third segment of our Toastmasters meeting, which are evaluations. So yes, in a Toastmasters meeting, we have speaker speak, but the value out of speaking not only comes from getting in front of an audience and speaking, but also from getting valuable feedback in order to improve in your speeches in the future. And the first person that I'm going to call to lead us in the evaluation segment is Jane Ruiz, who will be evaluating Brian DeSimone. Over to you, Jane.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Guys, I hope you're having a wonderful evening. I'm going to be evaluating Brian's speech, A Laborer in the Vineyard. Thank you for sharing your work story about coming together as a team when you're approaching a deadline and don't have anything yet. I can definitely say I've been there before. And your success story based on advice given to you by your mentor / supervisor. Brian, so you're excellent at coming up with a verbiage on the spot and just tying it all together, like how at the end you just threw in, you know, that with the audience, you refer to the audience as fellow laborers in the vineyard, just as your supervisor said to you. In general, you're a speaker who, like, if you forget something when you're speaking, you don't trip up, you don't just blank out. You are good at filling those gaps in, you just make everything flow, continue flowing, so it sounds like you never even messed up at all. And that is a strong quality of yours. However, I have to evaluate you, and I do think this time, I think there's too much filler in your speech. Like, there were some parts in your story that didn't contribute to the overall heart of the topic, which was motivating others and what it was that was done to motivate others. I feel like there was a missed opportunity with expanding on that labor in the vineyard metaphor. I think you could have definitely talked more about that and it would have felt more substantive. So I think it would have been a more effective speech if it was just overall more tightly structured. As you approach the red timer background, I was starting to worry that maybe you weren't going to be able to get to the climax of the story that was going to really tie in the topic that you were given for the speech. Another minor critique was that the camera was a little bit too high when you were speaking on this Zoom platform. And I know that as a speaker, you're really good with your gestures and your body language. And all we were getting was like above, like the chin, like around the chin area here. I saw there was some hand movement down here, but it was just like some fingertips. So I didn't know what you were gesturing. Overall, usually a strong speaker. I think you might have meandered a little bit this time, but thank you for sharing your story. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jane, for the evaluation. And our second evaluator is going to be Felicity Wilson, who will be evaluating Mario Latano's speech. Over to you, Felicity.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. What I saw that Mario excelled at tonight was his vocal projections, his ability to take command of the language, specifically using the introduction question, opening with a question that engaged the audience in a way that helped you kind of prepare for what's coming next in terms of, have you ever been mentored? Leading into your reference back to your parents and how they influenced your life in terms of mentorship. You also excelled at showing some emotion. You excelled at giving the perfect examples. You also excelled at the organization in which you presented tonight. I also want to add that as a member of Toastmasters for about maybe a year or so, and as our club shooting star, I have to say that I was impressed by your confidence in how you presented tonight. So I'm hoping that everyone else saw the command in which you took this, this presentation tonight and how comfortable you are with that. I would like to see in the future a few things that you work on. I know you had talked a little while ago that practicing and preparing is not your best thing, but I'd encourage do a little bit more practicing, because what took away a little bit from your presentation is you were looking this way as opposed to really and truly taking charge of engaging the audience. So that would be the one thing to challenge yourself on and work on. I think overall you did an amazing job at speaking to the experience, the individual that influenced you during your mentorship, and bringing it back to where you are today. So thank you so much. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much to our evaluators for those insightful evaluations. Let's jump back to our timer. Eric, let us know how our evaluators did this evening.
Alrighty, guys. So for the evaluators, for the timing for Jane, I timed it at 2 minutes and 19 seconds. And then for Felicity was 3 minutes and 2 seconds. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Fantastic. That means that both of our evaluators qualified. That is fantastic. And for the third time, if you want to vote for your best evaluator, send a private message to our vote counter, Catherine Stewart. Send that as a private message. She just waved to us again. Thank you very much for that. So go ahead and send your vote as soon as you can, or as soon as you decide who is your favorite evaluator. At this time, I would like to call on our second helper who supported us this meeting in improving our speaking abilities. Daria, as the ah counter, let us know how well we did with our ahs, ums, etc.
Everyone did much better this time, I think, because I catch things so much. You guys all did so much better. I didn't hear any from you, Luca, in fact. That's great. That's awesome. Brian, you had one 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 well, one so. I think you said kind of, maybe once or twice. I kind of is kind of a filler, but it wasn't, those were, you're usually, last time you didn't have any. This time it was a little more. Maybe you were a little nervous, but you had an awesome speech. Mario, you also had an awesome speech, and it's okay to be nervous. I'm nervous all the time. I joke and say, like, I just go pee-pee like a little puppy just because I'm nervous when there's water on the floor or something. I obviously don't, but well, that would be funny if I did. So Mario, you had 7 ums, 14 ahs, 1 2 buts, and 2 legs. You didn't do any kind of I thinks or so that's good. Felicity, you are very careful. You only had 2 ums, 1 so, a kind of, a and 1 I think. Eric, you had 6 ums and 5 ahs and I think. Jane, you had 3 ums. You're so quick to catch yourself. Good job. But 1 like, 1 1 feel like, and 2 eyes, or repeated eyes. Catherine, you had 4 ums and 1 and 1 kind of. Awesome. And that's all. You guys did so much better. Good job, everybody. I need someone to count me. Maybe next time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Daria. For what it's worth, I think I heard 2 in your report. But yes, somebody has to count the all counter. They can't fall through the cracks. All right. And for our vote counter, Catherine, do you have the final votes at this time? For the winners, better?
1 second. Yes, let me pull it up here. So,
Okay. Just send me unless you need more time, let me know.
I'll shoot you a message, Lucas. Does that
Oh,
work?
okay.
All right.
Of the winners or when you're
The
ready to
winners.
announce? Okay. that's coming in now or in a little bit?
Yes, I'm typing it, or I can just
Oh.
announce by the time I type it too. Sorry. It's
Yeah,
me.
yeah, just announce it. That's, if
Okay,
you got
perfect.
him, just announce him.
Okay, so best speaker tonight is Brian. Great job, Brian. Best table topics is Jane. Congratulations, Jane. And our evaluators are tied tonight, Jane and Felicity.
Fantastic. And ties just definitely do happen. It's not the first time that we get a tie for evaluator or best speaker or table topic. So congratulations to all of our winners. And let's go ahead and move on. Let's see where we are at here. Okay, I will give it just a general evaluation of the meeting. We started just a little bit after 7 o'clock, which is within reason. We went through it pretty smoothly, and we had great evaluations that were insightful, that really paid attention to detail to the speeches and really giving concrete advice, concrete recommendations on how our speakers can improve. We had great participation from our table topics, so that will conclude my general evaluation of the meeting. Now I would like to call on our VP Education, Brian, to call roll for the next meeting. So we call roll now so that we can build that momentum and get slots filled for the next meeting, which is going to be March 9th, 2022. It will be over Zoom. For our guests, I know some of you mentioned that you are in the Coral Gables area. While we are meeting on Zoom during this time, we are actively looking for an in-person location. Of course, we met in person before COVID. That option is not available to us at this time, so we've had to look for alternatives, but we are in the process of doing that and finding a new home for our group. So Brian, over to you.
Thank you, Luke. First of all, Lucas, great job tonight. A lot of hats, wearing a lot of hats tonight. Table topics, Toastmasters, general evaluator. Not easy. You pull it off seamlessly. Phenomenal job. Thank you, sir. March 9th, our next meeting. We need a Toastmaster. Let's rock and roll and get it on the board right now. I'm looking at Jane. I'm looking at Catherine. I think Felicity's actually been a great Toastmaster this year. Catherine or Jane, any interest in being a Toastmaster? Obviously, if not, we can reach out to other members, but you are the two currently in the meeting that have not done it in a while and qualify. Any
I was
interest?
gonna speak next time.
Perfect, not a problem. Love it.
All
You
right,
already signed up. I see that here. You signed up. Sorry. Catherine, go ahead.
No, I can't multitask today. So sorry. It's March 9th, right? Is the day we're
March
looking at?
9th. Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. I can do Toastmaster then.
Perfect. Did you have any interest in speaking? Obviously, we'll give you preference if you want to do a speaking role, but if not, we'll sign you up for Toastmaster.
No, Toastmaster works.
Beautiful. Okay. Jane, we have you as a speaker. For anyone else, any functionaries, any evaluators?
I'll speak next meeting.
Excellent. Okay.
I would like to do table topics.
Excellent.
I thought I wanted to sign up for speech, but now Jane and Felicity are speaking, and I feel like I should not.
We have
We've got
3
3 spots. You're rocking and rolling.
The
Perfect
third one's calling your name.
I'm just gonna sink like a rock, and you guys are gonna be doing so great.
Absolutely not.
You signed up. That's it. That's it. You already signed up. That's it.
All right. Okay.
Perfect. All right. So we got 3 speakers. We have a table topics and we have a Toastmaster. Catherine serving in the Toastmaster role. It's going to be a great one. Always does a great job as Toastmaster. So looking forward to a great meeting. We're off to a great start. We'll keep that momentum going by reaching out and filling up the rest of the spots. But that is all on my end. Mr. Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you very much. And just a quick note, all meetings through the end of June are up on our website. So maybe you decide that you want to take on the Toastmaster role for the next meeting in March. Well, not this coming meeting, but the one after that. You can sign up for it now. So you have that benefit and the ability to do so. And it's conveniently all on our club website. From the PR perspective, I just wanted to share with our guests our Instagram and our YouTube channel. I'm going to pull that up now and just copy and paste it into the chat. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, that's where we are most active. We recognize all of our winners from the meeting on our page, and we will do a post to recognize them, and any club achievements such as Felicity finishing level 1 in her pass. So congratulations to Felicity on that. And those are the links over here. So we did recognize her for that. And we also recognize Jasmine, who recently competed and won first place in the Area 54 Table Topics speech contest. Let me see what else I have here on the docket. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to cover new business. The first thing is to mark your calendar. April 2nd is our club anniversary celebration. We're going to meet up. We don't know the exact details of what we're going to do, but mark your calendar for April 2nd. It's most likely something that will happen in the afternoon. It is on the Saturday for our guests and our members. April 1st is our 67th club anniversary. So not that many clubs have been around for so many decades. So it's certainly something worth celebrating. And we will do that on Saturday, April 2nd. And additional details are to be announced in the near future. As I mentioned, Jasmine Sandoval, she's one of our members, and she recently competed in the Area 54 Table Topics contest, and she won first place, which means she will be representing not only our club, but Area 54 in the Division E contest for Table Topics, which is on Saturday, March 12th at 10 a.m. So the registration link hasn't come out yet, but when it does, I'll be sure to email to all of our members. And in addition to the Table Topics, which after the division goes to the district level, which our district is District 47, which covers Southeast Florida and the Bahamas. So she may have the opportunity to compete amongst the very, very best in Table Topics within Southeast Florida and the Bahamas. So that's very exciting, not only primarily for her, but also for our club, our area, and our division. What also happens around this time is the International Speech Contest. And while our club did not have a contestant for that, it is pretty exciting because an international speech contestant will go through the club, the area, division, the district, the regional competition, semifinals, and if they are a finalist, they will go to the World Championship of Public Speaking. So that is very exciting. And in a sense, you get to follow the trajectory of a speaker as they proceed through the different contests, if they are able to win those contests. So that's also exciting there. As far as club business, that wraps it up on my end. So what I would like to do now is officially close the meeting. I will stop the recording, and then we'll hear from our guests.